The original challenge I was having was I was completely overwhelmed and I didn't know how to shift it. I was working, it felt like I was working 24/7, 7 days a week. And this had been going on for, I want to say at least 18 months, where I just fell into this pattern where I was constantly working. And so in one sense, business was good. And I was very motivated to grow my business. And so I, felt that I was doing everything right. I was prioritizing my business. I was trying to keep up with the demand. But at the same time, I wasn't nearly as productive as I probably thought that I was, because even though I felt like I was working all the time, I was doing a lot of behaviors, kind of maybe avoidance behaviors. So for example, maybe I'd spend more time doing a task, or I'd get into maybe more reactive mode. And my other frustration was that I very much wanted to grow my business. And so a few years before I had, stepped away from my, quote unquote, comfy corporate job, and I risked everything to start a brand new business, online training business. And I was very motivated to see it grow significantly. I had a measure of success. I'm fortunate. I have a couple of business partners that are, that contribute a lot. And at the same time, I kept on running into this brick wall, if you will, where I felt that one of the biggest obstacles to my growth and making it as systematic and predictable as I wanted it to do, and as quickly as I wanted to do, was myself. I could tell from my behavior that I had mixed intentions, right? So on the one hand, I wanted to grow my business. And at the same time, sometimes I turned away work because I don't have the bandwidth for it. I just felt overwhelmed. And so I'd kind of go through these cycles of, putting my foot on the pedal, and then not too soon after hitting a point where it's like, okay, time to slow down. I believe that I'm a smart guy. I'm capable. I'm talented. I study. I'm resilient. I look at problems and I fix them. And at the same time, leading up to this point where I started working with Showray for about 18 months, I felt just stuck in kind of a pattern that I wasn't happy with. So I had known Showray. I'd known that she was a focal point business coach, and I was intrigued by what she did. I knew that I needed more focus. I needed some help. And so when we originally started, it was meant to be just short-term engagement with the priority being time management. It was, once again, I read many time management books and I thought I understood it. But for whatever reason, it wasn't translating into my behavior because I was feeling very overwhelmed. We started with some basic time management tools, which had an immediate impact. And so immediately I had some tools that I could start organizing and prioritizing my daily tasks. And, within a week, I was like, I was already seeing results, and I was happy with the results. And the interesting thing was that as we went in a couple of weeks, Showray is a very astute coach. And so what she identified or saw, I wasn't even aware of at the time, was that my motivation was somewhat low because I wasn't focused enough on my longer term goals. And what Showray decided, I would say in her wisdom, was to take me through a much more in-depth exercise where I would take my business and envision it 10 years out. I've been so used to really planning in 90-day cycles. As we went along, she got me to see the wisdom of actually starting 10 years out and then working my way back, and very specifically back to a fairly detailed 3-year plan, and then a fairly detailed year plan, and a fairly detailed quarterly plans. And to me, that was a complete game changer. This really helped me clarify, what business I'm in. What is it that I really aspire to do? Why am I really putting in all this effort? That got me excited, because I created a pretty compelling vision of what I wanted. And with the planning piece of it, it became very real and very realistic, because the planning piece showed me how I could actually do it. With Showary's help and going through this exercise, I have very specific goals for 3 years, a very specific plan around how to accomplish it. Going back to a year, very specific goal, very specific plan, breaking it down to the quarter. The big difference there for me was that now with this strategic plan, this is really a big motivator for me. And so what I perceived to be the problem, I think, wasn't the actual problem. It was something a little bit more underlying that Shohreh, in her expertise, was able to help me appreciate and then help me really accomplish. And in this industry, getting to $1 million of revenue is quite an achievement. I mean, it's something that very few people reach, very few companies reach in the coaching and training industry. What to me is so exciting now is that I can confidently forecast that within 6 months, we're going to reach the level, more clients, more funds are going to reach the level that we're now earning $1 million of revenue, which is huge. I mean, this to me has been my long-standing dream, especially, starting this business really as a 100% bootstrapped entrepreneur. Even better, as part of this planning that we've done, is that 3 years from now, the plan is to actually get to $3+ million, which before I'd never even really thought about. I was always just thinking $1 million would be great, but planning has its merits, and so you always think this is what life could be like, if only. And now 3-4 months after getting started with Shohreh, I'm literally waking up in my perfect day, and everything that I've planned and wanted to accomplish in my life, my business, is coming to pass. And so the opportunities just keep on getting better and better, and it's phenomenal. I guess that's the one word that sums it up. It's freaking phenomenal. My own sense of confidence is much different. My stress level is way down. I stopped working weekends. I stopped working in the evenings. I give myself a 40-hour work week. My excitement about what's going to be happening what's going to be unfolding over the next 6-12 months and longer, and the opportunities that weren't even necessarily anticipated are starting to pile up. Dramatic in terms of all the good things that are happening in the business, in my life. And I owe so much to Shohreh for helping me expand my view of what's possible for my business. So I would absolutely recommend Shohreh. I would absolutely recommend having a conversation with her. She has a wealth of knowledge. She is an extraordinary coach, especially if it's a business owner who has already had some success and perhaps is maybe feeling stuck in some way in terms of getting to that next level, in terms of maybe going from $1 million to 10 million, or wants to get to that next level in terms of revenue growth and profitability and success. You owe it to yourself to have a conversation with Shohreh.